With the 9th choice in the NFL Draft 2000, the Chicago Bears select Brian Urlacher, linebacker, New Mexico.
I got to tell you, Joe and Mel, this has gone the first 9 right down the middle of the fairway.
No big deal.
I mean, they're not hitting drivers. This is 3-wood.
That's right.
This is placement, placement, placement. Yeah. Brian Urlacher from New Mexico is a guy that many folks, until they start reading your book and reading others, never really heard of a linebacker from New Mexico, but he was moving up on about 20 teams' list, Mel.
Really did. A special athlete. Look at his combine numbers. Talking about strength, 27 reps, under 4.6 speed, and that vertical jump, the broad jump. Tremendous athleticism. Now, we're talking about Brian Urlacher, not heavily recruited out of the prep ranks, only recruited by New Mexico and New Mexico State. Weighed 218 pounds early on at New Mexico, became a linebacker, middle linebacker, then a rover over the last 2 years. That gave him that freedom of going forward, really attacking. And from that rover position, he made an awful lot of big plays, had 154 tackles this past year, 90 of which were solos. You see the ability here, instincts, vision to locate the ball, and then that chase ability and the speed. And when he arrives on the scene, he hits like a ton of bricks. And I think that sideline to sideline ability as either a middle linebacker or an outside linebacker is going to be key. Here's against Air Force. Last game of the regular season, returned 3 kickoffs. During the regular season, averaged 15.8 yards per punt return. Also, 6 touchdown receptions as a red zone wide receiver. There was even talk about it making him a fullback or a tight end at the pro level. This was at the Senior Bowl where he really settled in as a linebacker, Chris, and if he does that and they leave him at one spot and don't try to make him a safety or a fullback or a tight end, I think he has Pro Bowl capabilities.
The Lobos are not a place you often see in the first round. In fact, Brian Urlacher is the first player drafted in the first round from New Mexico since Robin Cole. And you remember him, a very good linebacker for the Steelers from New Mexico in 1977.
Chicago selects Mike Brown, safety from Nebraska.
Now, I will say this, that here's a guy that, among other teams, that Buffalo was eyeing a little bit.
And a big question really with Mike Brown, his size, Chris, at 5'9½", 202. He doesn't have ideal size. He has the rest. I'll tell you what, he's only the 3rd player in Nebraska history to lead the Huskers in tackles 3 consecutive years. So productivity is there. He started 39 straight games. I think what you have to like is coverage ability, as you pointed out, with all those great receivers in that conference. The fact that he does have experience at left cornerback, then he moved to rover as a sophomore. So he has proven he can cover. He's a punishing tackler, excellent ball skills, and a guy who's a pleasure to work with. Great for the coaching staff, and a guy that has been a leader both on and off the field with the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Everybody thinks Ralph Brown, Mike Brown, they were 2 outstanding players in the secondary. Not related. They're not brothers. They're not cousins, but both were integral parts of that defense. And certainly for Mike Brown, had he been and maybe an inch or 2 taller, you'd have been talking about a mid to late first rounder.